everybody, welcome back to Mr. Smith's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be continuing my videos on Adobe Illustrator. So again, in our classroom we have what's called a Glowforge machine. So it's basically a laser engraver where you use SVG files, which are vector files, to do scoring, laser engraving, and also cutting of different materials. So we're slowly moving through the basic tools of Adobe so we can get ourselves to a point where we can do full designs for the Glowforge and actually cut out products, whatever we're working on. So just going to jump right into it. All right, so actually October 4th and 5th are Independent Learning Days, so I want to talk about those for a minute. So on October 4th, it is a synchronous meeting, which means you will join a Microsoft Teams link and you will meet virtually with me. October 5th is asynchronous, so there is no class meeting, but you're still responsible for the work. So you will find the work right here on our It's Learning page. It's very simple, should take you about 20-30 minutes. Remember that this assignment is going to count towards your attendance on these Independent Learning Days, so make sure you do it. All right, so again, I'm going to have a video right here, and I will have an exemplar once I finish this video. So your job is just to watch the video, follow along, and submit your final product when you're done. All right, so let's hop into Illustrator. All right, so last time we talked about a few things, and the very first thing we talked about was how to set up the file. All right, so if you go to File, New, it's going to bring up all the different types of files you've ever made. This very first one right here, this is our 20-inch by 12-inch. That is for a Glowforge. Last time I didn't actually have you name it. So if you want to go up here to the top, you can call it Glowforge file, so that way you can easily recognize it every time. So once you've changed the name, go ahead and click Create. And then give it a second. We're working with school devices here. All right, so we have Glowforge file. And today I'm going to be talking to you about an image. So last time we did a lot of different things. We did the Shapes tool, the Pathfinder tool. I taught you about the Align tools. We used swatches. So just a variety. We talked about fill versus stroke. So today we're going to look a little bit more at some of those things while we're also looking at how to handle images. So what I want you to do today is, everybody likes superheroes, so I want you to go find the logo for your favorite superhero, or for my weebs, you can go and find your anime logo. All right, so I'm actually going to look up Superman logo, go over here to images, and I'm just going to try to find one that looks like it's going to be easy to work with. All right, this Superman logo here with the cracks, going to be pretty hard. This one right here. So I'm going to actually just go with this first one right here. It's simple. It's already got a white background, so it might be easy to use. So I'm going to open that up, right-click it, save image as, and I'm just going to save it into my photos. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my photos so I can see that I have my image here. So when I go into Adobe Illustrator, I can actually take this image, drag it down over the Adobe Illustrator symbol, and come up and drop it. And it'll drop it straight into Adobe for me. All right. If you would rather, you can actually go here and copy. So right click and blah, 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 blah. Copy down here. And you can go into Illustrator and press Control V and it will paste it. All right, or I think if you went into edit, you could paste. So again, if you go up here to edit, you can paste. All right, there's lots of different ways you can get the image in there. All right, so once you've got your image in there, I want to shrink it. Remember from the last video, guys, if you just drag, it doesn't keep the proportions. All right, so you have to do a shift click drag. So hold down shift, click on a corner and pull it down, and it'll keep the proportions. All right, so I quickly just kind of eyeballed the center there, but I'm actually going to use my Align tool that we talked about last time and put it in the center by using the horizontal center and the vertical center. All right, so now I've got my image in, right? So it's all one thing here. Well, that's an issue if I'm trying to edit an image. I need to take it to a point where I can maybe change the colors or edit some of these lines. So the way we do that is we actually have to trace the image to create basically a vector. Instead of it just being a complete final image, it's a vector that we can manipulate. So the way that you do that is you click on the image, and then if you look up here in your control bar, so remember guys, the control bar, if you go to Window and click on Control, all right, see how it disappeared? If I go back to Window and click Control, it brings it back. So the control bar is going to give us a lot of the things that we need to use. Right now, we're going to use Image Trace. So if you click this little down arrow next to Image Trace, it gives you all these types of traces. So technical drawing, I'll just show you what that looks like. Well, it doesn't produce anything. It's actually looking for lines to trace. Maybe line art, if we do that trace. All right, it doesn't really give us anything good. All right, so the traces that I use, if it's a very complex image, I use high fidelity. If it's a low quality image, I do low fidelity. And then sometimes I just try to match the colors. So this one has yellow, black, and red. So that's 3 color. So I'm going to use the 3 color trace. And what you're looking for is that after the trace completes, you want your image to look the same. All right, so it definitely changed, but it hasn't distorted the image altogether. All right, so again, we're just working in our control bar up here. So now we have a new image, but it's still all one thing. So you want to go up here to expand, all right? And what that does is it converts the object into paths. So instead of it still being one thing, it's now all separate things. All right, so you can see now that there's all these lines in here. So if we want to separate those lines, now we need to ungroup. So if you right click, you can go down here to ungroup, and now everything is separate. So I could go in here and click the red and click delete, and now I just have the lines. Or I could go in here to the red, and maybe I want this to be, oops, all right, so remember, fill versus stroke. I just changed my stroke to yellow, so do you see the outline is now yellow? What I wanted to do was to change the fill to yellow. So maybe I want to change my stroke to like blue. Maybe I want to increase the stroke a little bit so I can go up here on the top. I'll do this like 0.03. Oh. 0.03 enter. Okay. Made it a little bit thicker. Maybe I'll do 0.1. Kind of see what that looks like. It's not changing a whole lot. I think it's because the blue kind of blends in with the black. So maybe we'll go in here, see if we can click on. All right, so we clicked on our black. Maybe we want to make our black red. Okay, it don't look awful. All right, I'm going to go in here and take this inside. Maybe we'll make the insides. Maybe the insides will look better blue. What do y'all think? All right, so I took the original image, and now I'm actually changing the colors of it to see, you know, to actually change the logo. All right, so this is not the traditional Superman logo. Honestly, it looks okay. It's not my best logo I've ever done. Maybe if I change these blacks to red, it might look a little cleaner. Oh. So if you need to be more precise on what you're clicking on, you can always zoom in. All right, so I've changed up the Superman logo a good bit now. So this is cool and all, but we're going to use this to actually, you know, create different scores, engravings, and cuts. So I actually want to remove my background. So do you see how if I hover over here, it represents the square behind? If I click that and click delete, then I've removed that background. So now I just have the image, all right, and the image only. So one thing you might want to do You know, I could even separate this out because these are all different pieces. But once you have changed all your colors, one thing you always want to do is make sure you group it back together. So you group by drag clicking to highlight the whole thing, and then right click and go to group. All right. So maybe I'm trying to do the laser engraver and I'm trying to do a score. All right. So a score is where the laser actually traces all the lines but does not cut through. Or maybe I am trying to cut through and I just want to trace all the outside. So what I can do is if I highlight my image and I go over here, I can remove the fill, all right, remove the fill and change the stroke to black. So now all of my lines are black. All right, so it still kind of looks like that Superman logo. I could actually even go in here and kind of remove some of these extra pieces to make it look even more like a Superman logo. All right, because we just have a lot of extra traces in there. All right, I'm gonna leave all that. So let's say that we are going to do a cutout of this. So we would need our laser to cut along this outside line. So what we want to do is we want to change the color of that. I always like to use red for cuts because red usually means bad, and if you're cutting through material, it's kind of a bad thing. But in this case, we want to do it so it's good. So I'm going to click this outside line and I'm going to change its stroke to red. All right, and that way I know that this is going to be my cut. All right, and for scores, which is where you don't cut through the material, but it cuts like a line. All right, I'm going to use green. All right, so this is going to be a cut and this is going to be a score. If we ever do engravings, we're going to use black. All right, so you got three colors: red for cut, green for score, and black for engraving. All right, so let's say that I want to use some of the tools from last time. So I'm going to draw a text box, and I'm going to put M-I-T-T-Y, because some of y'all do call me Smitty. Sometimes I call myself Smitty. So wouldn't it be cool if I could create a sign with the Superman logo and then M-I-T-T-Y so it looks like Super Smitty? Might be cool. All right, so I'm going to create the MIDI. I'm even going to go up here and change my font. You know, find me a good, ooh, that kind of went with it. What was that? Not that one. This one. This one kind of goes with it. Except I've lost my Y now. All right, there we go. All right, so Super Smitty. Again, I'm going to group the Superman so that way when I need to move it, I can. All right, Schmitty. So maybe I want this to intersect, right? So last time I showed y'all that you can use the pathfinder tool to make it intersect. So I'm going to go ahead and ungroup Superman, because if you're going to make stuff intersect, everything has to be ungrouped. All right, I'm going to take the M-I-T-T-Y and I'm going to turn it into an image. So if I right click and go to create outlines, this is now an image. So I can do what we've been doing and actually go in here and remove the fill, and then change the stroke. Well, I want to cut this out. So what color was our cut? It was red. So I'm going to change this to red. All right. So now maybe I want to combine these two. All right. So have them overlap. So what I can do is I can go here, and if I highlight this line here, this outside part, and I hold down Shift, and I highlight MIDI, so I've got the outside of the Superman logo and MIDI, I can go over here and use my Pathfinder tool and actually unite those. All right, so again, watch. When I click on the Unite tool, it has now combined the Superman logo with my MIDI. So our laser is going to trace this red line all the way around, then trace out MIDI, and then, yeah, it'll be done. So maybe I actually want to engrave the Superman S. So to do that, remember I told y'all black, so we're going to change our fill to black, and our trace and our stroke to black. So now what it would do is engrave the S, and it would cut around all the red parts. Pretty cool, right? So guys, that's about it. My goal for you in this video is for you to take an image, use an image trace to convert it into a vector, so you can then edit the colors and do whatever you want. And then I want you to try to use the Pathfinder, so maybe add some text to whatever logo you chose. So if you use a Batman logo, maybe add the word "and Robin," something like that. But this is just like a quick 20-30 minute activity that I want you to work on independently on the Independent Learning Day. All right, so again, guys, if I don't talk to you, have a great break, and I will see you back October 11th. Take it easy.